Welcome to TTT Boxing in association with IFL TV and MGM Marbella. Here with me I have Daniel Gill, here to talk about his next fight against Jared Fletcher on the 3rd of December. Thanks for joining us, Daniel.
Thanks.
So a fight with someone that you know stranger to. You and Jared obviously go back a little bit. Tell us a bit about that, how that relationship's gone on through the years.
Yeah, no, I've known Jared for a long time. We've trained a lot together, and we spent time at the Australian Institute of Sport when we were both on scholarship down in Canberra, and we know each other pretty well. He was boxing at a different weight back then, but he's moved up to middleweight now, and we talked about it over the years that at some stage we may come up against each other, and it looks like this is the time.
Absolutely, and I know you both sparred each other before your recent fights as well.
Yep.
And have you seen anything in those more recent sessions that you think you can take advantage of? Have you got any idea of what your game plan is going to be already?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a few different game plans that I will be trying out there. He'll be doing the same thing. Because we know each other very well. I think it's got to come down to probably who wants it most, and who's willing to take a few risks. Because we know each other, especially defensively, it could start to be one of those fights that it's hard because we know each other. We're going to land on the gloves. We're not going to be able to get through too easily. But if one of us want to take a few more risks, then they'll probably have a bit more of an advantage, I think.
Absolutely. And are you predicting this to go the distance, or do you see yourself putting this one away early?
I'm not really a big one for predictions, but I'm very confident going into this. So and I also know that he's very confident as well, which gives me even more confidence because he's going to go out there thinking that he's going to knock me out, thinking he's going to be able to walk through me, which is great. I've had plenty of guys do that in the past, and I want to make sure that I show everybody that I'm back.
Absolutely. And after that, both coming off the back of losses in title fights over in the States, so both seeing this as a springboard opportunity to get back into the mix for those kind of fights, those bigger fights over in the States. Have you got any idea as to, after this fight, are you looking forward to what your next steps could be and where potential opponents could come from?
At this stage, I'm only focusing on the one fight. I've spoken with my guys, and they do mention that that there are big names out there, that possible world title fights coming up again very soon. But I can't worry about that too much. I know there are going to be big fights. There's always something ahead, and I have to stay motivated for that. But I got to take one step at a time.
And the middleweight division is very talent heavy at the moment. One of the more competitive divisions in the sport at the moment. Is there anyone outside of, I suppose, inside Australia as well, that you've sort of pinpointed as either someone to look out for, someone that you'd like to see sort of further down the line in terms of a fight? I know you've mentioned you'd like to have a rematch with Golovkin if that comes up.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love that opportunity. I know that definitely wasn't my best fight, and there are a lot of things that I will change going into the next one. But there are plenty of great middleweights around as well. The guy that beat Jared Fletcher as well, Danny Jacobs. He's another guy who holds a title that I'd love the opportunity against. To be honest, Jermaine Taylor, after he just beat Sam Solomon, I'd love that opportunity as well. But it's up to my team to point me in the right direction and give me the chance to be able to fight any of these guys. I know given the chance, I'd really take up that challenge.
Yeah. And how? So the last fight with Golovkin obviously didn't go as planned, but a man that not many people are lining up to fight. So a lot of credit goes for even looking at that fight, and especially wanting a rematch. How did you find him in the ring compared to, I suppose, the man that was spoken about before you went into the ring, and what would you do differently if you were to go into the next fight?
To be honest, I guess I did a couple of things wrong in that fight. In that against the guy, he's definitely heavy-handed, as everybody knows. Standing and boxing in front of him is a thing that it's not going to do too good for you. If he lands a punch, that's going to hurt, and that's how it's going to be. You got to get in the guy's face. Even in his last fight, when he had the pressure put on him, he does look uncomfortable. If you give the guy room, he'll take your head off. So you have to stay on a guy like that. You have to do what he doesn't want you to do. It can be difficult, especially because he's got good footwork and good speed. But you've just got to take his strengths out of it and make it hard for him to land those clean shots. And I know what I need to do now, and I'd love to have that chance again.
How do you find fighting in, say, Madison Square Gardens compared to, say, fighting over in Australia and some of the more recent fights you've had? How are the promotions different? How is the press tour in the States compared to, in Australia, where obviously the market's not quite as prominent?
Yeah, I mean, it's great fighting over there. I really enjoyed it. A place like Madison Square Garden, which is steeped in so much history, it's walking through the hall, seeing all the the original photos up on the wall of Ali and Frazier. I mean, it was pretty special. But at that time as well, I couldn't really soak it in. I had a job to do. I had to go out and fight, so I couldn't really soak it all up. But it was great. I mean, the people over there, the guys interviewing, the journalists, they were really into it as well, and that's what I appreciate. Guys that are people that love the sport and love covering the sport. That's such a great thing. We don't get that a lot in Australia, so it can be frustrating at times that boxing isn't sort of covered that well in Australia, and unless you do something stupid to create that media, you don't get the attention.
Yeah, and was that one of the biggest challenges that you felt you faced sort of coming up in Australia, was being taken seriously here, and then with the lack of profile out here of the sport being taken more seriously away from Australia? Yeah. I mean, like for myself, I had to work very hard to win a world title before I even started to get a little bit of coverage. Even when I won the title, it was still difficult to get a lot of coverage. Sam Solomon was in the same boat as well. I mean, he became world champion. Didn't get a whole lot of coverage as well. But in saying that, if that had happened, in the US, it would have been a much different story. I mean, we'd have parades for him, and for myself as well. But because of where we are, it makes it a little bit harder. And I guess because of how we are as well, myself and probably Sam is in the same boat a little bit as well. We're a bit quieter. We're not more outspoken saying those sort of things. It's much more difficult to gain those headlines, and we have to let our performances do the talking. And on the subject of saying controversial things and getting that media attention, another Australian with a fight coming up in November, a former opponent of yours. What are your thoughts on that fight? Do you think Mundine still has he still got something there? The Clottey fight obviously went far away from the way he would have wanted it to.
Yep.
And I suppose this shot's kind of come out of left field a bit for him. And do you see that as a fight that he can win?
To be honest, I haven't seen a lot of his opponent, Rodchenko, but I think Mundine's the type of guy. He knows he's getting older now. He's cagey. If he trains hard, he'll give himself a chance for sure. If there's any underlying injuries, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him. He's fighting a young, undefeated fighter that's very confident. So it could be very difficult for him. But it's up in the air, to be honest. I mean, he's given a shot. He's probably thinks he's been hard done by over the years. He'll probably tell you that, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. So the fights between yourselves, had controversy both ends before and afterwards.
Yep.
And he's obviously fighting at a different weight division now.
Yep.
If down the line he was to say move back up and the money was there, is that another fight? Was that a fight that you would consider, or is that chapter closed now?
To be honest, people have spoken about it. It's not something that I give a whole lot of thought to. I guess because the middleweight division is so strong, he's fighting at junior middleweight. It's not really something that I consider. People still are asking for it, which I find sort of a little bit funny. They keep asking me when I'm going to fight him again. But I think down the track, I've sort of made a little bit of a pact with my wife, especially, that I wouldn't go down that road again. But boxing's boxing.
You never know what's further down the line, and say if the offer's there, then it's a big fight.
Yeah.
And who else on the Australian scene do you see as sort of up and comers? I know there's a few people breaking through and say, we've got a generation of slightly older fighters in Solomon and making that transition, but then there's a group of sort of contenders coming back through.
Yep.
Is there anyone that you think we're going to see coming through the Australian scene to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good young Aussie fighters at the moment. To be honest, my mind's a bit scattered at the moment. I'm just about to do a training session. I can't remember all of their names, but we do have plenty of good young fighters that are hungry. You know, they just need to be given a chance. You know, these days with the Fox Sports shows, it's very hard for these young fighters to get on and get the coverage that they need to gain the attention they need. And you know, I just wish there was more opportunity for these young kids to gain that attention and you know, getting interviews and getting that sort of coverage as well in Australia is very difficult. And these young kids need that. That's the only way they're going to be able to sort of, I guess, rise through the ranks and you know, have the supporters to be able to back them.
Absolutely.
All the way.
And as someone who's, as you say, went through those battles yourself, and what would be your advice to younger guys that are looking to make that step and say, coming up against these challenges, what helped you get through it?
You know, I guess I was just determined. You know, very determined, and I think a very important part of it is having the right people around you. You know, I knew having all the boxing skill or all the commitment is one thing, but having the right people around you, supporting you, and pointing you in the right direction is so important. And the guys at the Grange, Old School Boxing, Billy, Gary, and Graham, have supported me the whole way in my pro career, and they've done everything that I've needed them to do to get me to where I need to go. And I wouldn't be in this position without guys like that. And my advice would be find people that are looking out for you. It's very hard in the sport of boxing to find people like that, but finding the right people is so important.
Absolutely. But we'll let you get on to your training session. Fight coming up very soon, obviously, and we'll keep in touch and obviously wish you all the best for that. December 3rd. Where can people pick up tickets for that if they want to see that?
To be honest, not much to do with the tickets.
We'll put a link up later on. Don't worry about it.
All right, awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time, Daniel.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
that, mate.
Thanks, guys.